I always wanted to be a martial artist and an entrepreneur when I grew up. I wanted to learn how to surf, I wanted to learn foreign languages, and I wanted to really travel the world. I grew up in a small town in Sweden called Gnosjö, very small place, and my parents, they immigrated from Cambodia, escaping the genocide, to Sweden. They worked in a manufacturing company where they were producing a lot of metal and things. It was very hard work. So whenever I grew up, I said to myself, I never wanted to do that. I wanted to achieve real success. And for me, success was wearing a nice watch, wearing nice shoes, wearing a nice suit, and live in a big city where you're working in an office like Stockholm, London, or Shanghai. So when I graduated from university, I was thinking to myself, I need to move to a big city. I need to move to a big city. I need to be getting myself a good job in an office, and I need to be achieving real success. But I also thought to myself, what if I could create a company where I could work from anywhere I wanted and still see the world at the same time? Would that be possible? During my time at university, I had the opportunity to live and study in Japan. Absolutely loved it. I had 3 classmates that were from the US. One day were asking me if I could help them with summer internships in China, because they knew that I had studied and lived in Shanghai the year before. I said, of course, because when I was living in Shanghai, a city which I loved, I met a lot of interns that had opportunity to intern at Heineken and the Beijing Olympics. So I matched my classmates with these companies, and I thought they were going to have a blast that summer. A few months later, I was checking in with my friends, and I found out that they didn't have such a good time in China. They were having a lot of issues finding accommodation, making friends, and really acclimating in the culture in the city. So fast forward about a year, I had graduated. I didn't think much more about that. I was living in Bangkok, Thailand, and I wanted to live life. It was a Friday evening. I was sitting in the terrace, and I came to think of the idea that I wanted to work remotely and pursue martial arts and learn foreign languages and potentially creating a company where I could work from anywhere I wanted. But I needed a business idea and I needed a business plan. So I was thinking about my 3 classmates in Japan, and that night, again, I was sitting on my terrace, I was Googling summer internships. And this company popped up charging $10,000 to intern for 2 months in New York City. And I was thinking, why would anyone pay $10,000 to intern in New York City for 2 months? It turned out that most of their customers and their students were from the US. And each summer they had about 200 students. And I was thinking, well, we might have a business idea here, because it's so much cheaper to do that than to intern in China. And who would not want to come to China and build your career? But I needed a business plan. So that night, I asked my partner in crime, I need a business plan, can you help me? She had worked for large corporations and she knew what business was all about. Together we had $2,000 in savings, and we said, you know what, let's use that money to incorporate the company. And we found a Swedish web developer on a forum online, and we were in business. One day, one of my Swedish friends, they came to visit me in London, and we had lunch in a Peruvian restaurant. And she told me, Fredrik, you commute 3 hours per day, 1.5 to go, 1.5 to go back each day. And I made the math. You're basically losing a day per week in your life. And that, I never saw it that way, I told her. And it made me realize that, wow, what am I doing here? I'm working really hard to build my company, but I never went into martial arts. I never learned another language. I never tried surfing. I was stuck here building my company because I thought that's what success was all about. That night, I told my partner in crime in London that we can't continue to live like this. We basically lost 52 days in our lives living here. It was time to change it, because for the last 6 years, we spent one Christmas together with our families. We missed all birthdays, all the funerals, and all the other holidays with our families, sacrificing everything to build our company and make it very, very successful. And it was time to change it, but not yet. That same month, we were welcoming one of our most important university partners in Shanghai. So I flew to Shanghai and I met with her, and we had some delicious dumplings in Shanghai. We toured around the city, showed her around, and visited our office premises as well. And on her last day, we're having lunch again before saying goodbye to each other. She told me, "Fredrik, I don't think you guys need such an expensive office address here in Shanghai. As long as you have internet connection, you know the city already inside and out. You already know the culture inside and out. As long as you have internet connection and a computer, you can do your job from anywhere." And that hit me right in the heart. Because if one of our most important customers said to me and my partner in crime that we could work from anywhere in the world, why couldn't we? So that night, I went back to my old friend Google and I searched best place to live in Europe. And Barcelona showed up consistently in many lists as a great place to live and work. So I love Barcelona, and we love Barcelona. It had a very cool vibe, great international community. It had the sea and it had the mountain, and it was very close to our families. So we decided to move to Barcelona. We arrived in Barcelona a few weeks later. We're offering something, we're trying to find an apartment, and I enrolled in the Spanish language course. I didn't speak Spanish, so it was a great opportunity to pick up a new language, because after all, that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, learn new foreign languages. And for the first time, for a very, very long time, I could taste freedom. The company grew even bigger, and we got more team members and more customers, and then the pandemic happened. And for the first time for over 10 years, I was living in the same city for over 3 months. All my business travels were canceled, and suddenly it was fine and acceptable to conduct business and attend conferences on Zoom. There's this study made by Deloitte showing that 35% of employees in the US, China, Italy, and Spain will work remotely post the pandemic. Google, Twitter, Microsoft, and Amazon have announced permanent work from home policies. 72% of 3,600 Deloitte executives identified the ability of their people to adapt, reskill, and assume new roles as what's most needed to navigate the future. Students were once measured by their IQ, intelligent quotient, and then came emotional quotient, and now it's all about adaptability quotient. So how do you get that as a young person? Intern remotely as a high school student or a university student. Intern for a few hours per week, because when you're young, you don't have money, but you do have time. So use that time wisely. Intern remotely for a company. You're gonna build a lot of skills, forge relationships, enhance your CV, open a few new doors that you didn't know existed. But above all, you're gonna build your adaptability skills and enhance your adaptability quotient. Write an unsolicited application to a company today. The worst thing that you're gonna get is a no. You're gonna be surprised on how many companies out there and people out there that wanna give back to the future generation. You never know what type of doors will open by you sending your application today. You don't need money now, you need skills and experiences. So what will it give you by working remotely? Well, you will be able to travel and work from anywhere you want, having a little bit more time to pursue your hobbies or personal interest. Success shouldn't be defined by anyone else but yourself. Figure out what success means to you and then work yourself towards that each day. For me, I've finally been able to build an organization where I can work from anywhere in the world, but also our team members. We've downsized our office in Barcelona, so anyone can come to the office or work from anywhere in the world. The choice is theirs. For me, I've been able to finally try surfing in Brazil, pursue my passion for martial arts and learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, take up an 8th language and learn Spanish, but above all, spend more quality time with my family and not miss any more Christmases. For some of us, we're very lucky and fortunate to grow up in a country like Sweden. We have the opportunity to choose how we're spending our lives and our careers. But I want to challenge you guys today. Stop for a moment and reflect on how you're spending your time each day. Imagine your 80-year-old self meeting your 16 or 25-year-old self. What advice would you give yourself? Because how you spend your time is how you live your life. And time is the only currency we cannot buy. Thank you for listening.